Alright, I'm going to, based on these examples, we're going to use these as our details to help us design a bar. First thing you need to do is open a new file, and we're going to actually draw a 2D of it all so that we can get it manufactured by the Casework company. First we're going to do is the sides of the cabinets. So do a line. We're going to go line, make sure ortho is on. It's going to be 22 inches. Then it goes down 33 or 32, across 3 or 4, down, across 4, down 3. I could go over here 35 inches and close it up. As I do this, I recommend putting dimensions in. That way you will have a piece that's complete and ready to be manufactured. We can actually maybe even actually make one of these. We have the CNC machines, not a big deal, and we can buy the material. The drawers and glides, I can get that from my warehouse. So I have this object. I'm going to use my dimension tools. So as I go, I will create dimensions. That way anybody who wants to make sure they're cut up to speed, it's fine with me. I'm just going to change my spec for dimensioning. Hopefully you guys remember that. Normally you would use a template for this whole job where everything is already set up, but that's in the ideal world. I am not using a template, so I have to adjust everything. Let me see. Yeah. Alright, so I am gonna scale my dimensions up, and I'm just gonna match it later on to it. So I double click on the dimensions. It brought me to the properties toolbar. I went to fit, and I went to scale of 10. So it's 10 times the size. I know I have a lot of these zeros. I shouldn't have that, and there's a lot of issues that can be corrected later on in the project. Again, maybe I should just we should just set up dimensions, make it less of a hassle. So we'll go to Format, Dimension Styles, New, Dim Arc. Calling it Dim Arc. I'll click OK, continue, and the fit. I'm just gonna put scale 10 times here. Primary units, I'm gonna change it to 2 0 decimal points. Double click to get it to set to current and close it out. Now if I dimension it, I should be able to get the correct format, dimension, style. Oh, wrong one. Set current, close. There we go. 1, 2. And of course, your dimensions should be in a different layer. That way, it can be turned on and off, prevented from being printed on the CNC machine. Alright, that's our first piece. We will actually have 4 of these or more based upon our layout. What I recommend doing now is we're going to actually draw a top so we can actually get a top view of it and get a better visual of how we're going to design this. To do this, we're going to design the actual center point, which is 48 inches wide. Then we're going to do a 36 and a 36. I'm just making a straight line because later on I could just rotate these without a worry. I select the edge. Lines I created, I'm going to rotate them 45 degrees. Oops, that should have been negative 45. So I go to rotate. Negative 45. Move up like so. And I'm going to offset them by 22 inches for the depth of the cabinets. So I go offset 22. This may be a whole review because it's all 2D, but it helps. Plus, some of you may not be the best at 2D, so this is some good practice. Alright, that's basically my setup, except, of course, the cabinets will be straight and won't have these weird shapes. Alright, so if we were looking at the top of our cabinets, we would see this, but actually these parts would be missing. That would be part of our actual countertop design. So I'm having 3 cabinets joined together with each other to create a U-shaped assembly.
So it's 3 separate sections.
Yeah, but we're gonna actually. Okay. So we have these cabinets now. We're gonna remove these sides of the cabinets to save on material, and we're gonna add the finished backs over here to close the design out. So we have something like this. Looks pretty nice. We're gonna actually change that, make that actually square. So I do a fillet. My radius is 0, so it'll be just a complete square. Okay, that's better. So that's my actual counter or cabinets combined, and you can see that I need 4 of these pieces here. 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. Our next aspect is we need to design the front of each. So the front of a cabinet will be, the actual cabinet size is 36. So I did rectangle. The width is first, so 36 by rectangle, D for dimension, 36 by 35. And you can move it over here to align it with your end view. The thing is that you have to take into consideration the thickness of the wall on one side and the thickness of what our corner filler will be. So plus, to make it look nicer, you pretend like there is actually a wall here too. I'll show you what I mean. So you do your square. It's 36 by 35. So that's 35. That's 36. We need to draw a line for the for the toe kick, and that's 3 inches above. So you take a line, go up 3, go across, and you will have a box inside the box pretty much. So you're gonna offset it by 3/4 of an inch thick. That's how thick our material is. So you go to offset 0.75, and you trim down or stretch these. Actually, stretch that up, and you also need to. Well, actually, we will actually stretch that up even more because it gets a. If I go to the other drawing, these don't have. Alright, these cabinets don't have toe kicks. Oh, there they are. So that's that thickness right here, and that's our. Actually, they made it 4 inches high, but we've reversed it. It's okay, and so forth. So okay, let's go back to ours. What we need to do is go to modify, stretch this piece up. Now all your cabinets will be the same design aspect. The shell will be exactly the same, except for the inside of what you want to do with the drawers and doors and so forth. I'm going to stretch. I'm stretching this up 0.75 and doing this, creating a line because our actual cabinet, this piece is at the end, so it has to be one piece, and that can be on both sides. So we have something like this, This top piece is actually doesn't go all the way down, even though it's shown here. We're not going to do that. It's additional waste of material. So instead, we'll put a little piece over here for just the visual. So to make this easier and design-wise, I'm going to make a copy of this end view. I'm going to create a section view so you guys can better understand what I'm trying to do. So our basic design is 0.75, which I just created. Move this over. That right here. And it's going to go all the way down. And its thickness is 3/4, so I have to make it down. And then this part right here is 3/4. Like so. And there's a little piece here that we're going to put in that's going to be exactly 3/4 by 3/4. So rectangle, D for dimension, 3/4 by 3/4. We could actually make that bigger or smaller, it's up to you guys. Actually, we should probably make it bigger. So I'm going to make it 1.25. Again, these are optional pieces sizes. You can make them bigger or smaller, up to you. But usually all cabinets have a back and front. This one has a full out. So these cutouts, we can make them too. So our first part is we have the top, the bottom portion, and we need the backing. The backing, we're going to actually add a hole back to the casework here. So it's actually going to be a full size piece instead of using the back of the cabinet. Reduce our costs actually, so take that into consideration. Pause this for a second. Okay, so what we're going to do is actually have more support from the bottom so it actually holds up. We'll close in the back. Again, this is a section view, this is the end view. That's the piece. Okay. And we'll have another piece over here on the other side to support the top. I'm going to take a copy of this. I'm going to use the same size, that way manufacturing will be a lot easier. And I'm going to dimension it out for you guys over here. So these pieces are 2 3/4. I'm going to use one more by making a copy of this, rotating it. Oops, cancel, rotate. So we have something like this. You won't see it in the front because the front view is completely different from a section view, which is completely different from the end view. Because the end view, you don't see anything inside. Okay, we have something like this. We have the exterior of the walls. In this case over here, it's going to be just a small thickness. It's going to be this piece, but it's going to be running downwards because that will save us from actually making a full out piece, which should be enough to support it. So if I did the actual view, we would see a line coming this down. Okay, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. Like so. Okay, to make it more easier to understand, I'm going to delete these, remove them. We're going to just use regular side panels like that. One on one side, which is this. One on the other side, like this. There is a piece that's going through in the middle. And this piece is actually in front of here. So in our section view, I don't know. So do you want? I want to. All right. So what we're gonna draw in, there should be a line here and a line here, because that's our piece right here. Yeah. So, but there is a line because of this right here. So if you were looking in a top view, you will see a line in here. Alright, so we have two actual pieces that we're using in this project so far. The end panels, the pieces over here to support the cabinet, and we're actually going to need to design that base right here that we have on these two pieces. These two pieces are going to be actually smaller. They're going to be the inside in between the two end panels. So I'm going to actually, here, hopefully this will help you guys. So this is actually, it's 3 inches high, so it's good, and 34.5 inches wide, like so. So that's another piece that needs to be designed. It's 3 by 34.5. That's for these two pieces right here. Now if you guys want, we can type in how many pieces we need. It may be beneficial. So here we have 3 of these. 1, 2, 3. Oops. Okay, put DT2 3 piece of these. For this one we will have 2 pieces, and for this one we'll have 2 pieces, one in the back and one in the front. So I got the text by typing DT enter. Then I typed in the height, which was 2 inches, and then the rotation was 0, so I just typed in enter and then typed the actual text. That's how I got the text, if anybody's wondering. But these are actually the main 3 pieces we're using so far. Plus we have to actually draw out the bottom of our cabinet, which is this piece right here, and it's actually in between, so that is 34.5, and if I go over here it's 22 inches, if that helps. So we draw another rectangle. We go de-enter 34.5 by 22. And I like to align these things, that way it looks not a lot neater. And we have one piece like that, so I'll just copy my text over and leave it at 1. Alright, I'm going to leave this up. You guys can see the numbers, right? Okay. Alright. And I'm going to pause it so everybody can get that. This. Oh. Alright, so this cabinet, we have a couple different options. You could either make it into a drawer and door, a full door, or holes cut them inside a piece of plywood to put in bottles, so forth. So what I recommend we're going to do is, we'll do it in order. We'll actually draw a panel that goes inside that will hold the bottles. So an easy way of doing that would be just trace over this square area that we already have. I have actual rectangle there. I can just make a copy of it. That's our buildable area. So our buildable area is actually the piece of wood that we're going to be using inside to close it up. Now the next thing I need to do with this piece of wood is I'm going to actually need to add holes to it. Holes of, can anybody tell me